YouTubers, gamers, it's your boy 1412 back at it again with another video. And right here, I don't know if you can see it right here. I don't know what version of the LeBrons these are, don't have a clue, but they was $99. And it took me 4 years to get a new sneak. Yeah, my old sneaks were talking outside. This part was ripped up. Even the insides was ripping apart. That was the first time I ever went through a shoe like that. So I put some serious work into them. At any rate, that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is the NBA playoffs. And hope you guys like that. NBA playoffs. My thoughts on the second round of the NBA playoffs and who I think is going to advance to the championship. So let me talk about my thoughts real quick on the second round. I'm not going to make this too long. Got Chris Paul and the Clippers versus the Rockets. What a letdown. My goodness, man. What a disappointment loss for Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers keeps going up 3-1 and 3-2 and losing. People are blaming that on him or saying that he's cursed or something. These guys are always trying to think of something to say to just, to put any type of 2 and 2 together to make it out to something that is really not. People lose. People lose, people win. But I'm glad Doc got that championship though. So no matter what they say, they can't say he wasn't once a champion, an NBA Finals champion. But yeah, it's just a total collapse to me. Some people are blaming it on Chris Paul. Some people are blaming it on this and that. Just total team collapse, and the Rockets showed a lot of effort. You gotta give Kevin McHale a big, huge shout out. You gotta give him a lot of props because he went with a squad in Game 6 without his main player. He had a squad. He had Jason Terry, Corey Brewer, Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, and Trevor Ariza. I couldn't think of the last guy. Trevor Ariza. No James Harden. He stuck with that squad, and that squad got him all the way to the victory. I think a 12-point victory when they were down 19 in the third quarter. So you had to give Kevin McHale a lot of props for that. Wizards and Hawks. Wizards and Hawks. My thoughts on that series, and I feel, I'm not gonna say I feel bad for the Wizards, but I do feel a little bad for him. Chris Paul, not Chris Paul, but Paul. That's another Paul in there. Paul Pierce. Almost, hit a game-tying 3 to send it to possibly but definitely overtime and possibly a Game 7. But he couldn't hit that. He couldn't hit that shot, man. That had to hurt. I know that would hurt me. But you gotta give the Wizards a lot of props, man. Coming into the playoffs, no one thought they would. People thought they would barely get out the first round. They swept Toronto. They had I think they had a 2-1 series lead against the Hawks. Don't quote me on that. But they did a great job, man. Outstanding job. I would say they probably over-exceeded expectations if you look at them as far as how they looked going into the playoffs. It didn't look like one of the better teams. I think I had Toronto winning the series 4-3, but they ended up blowing them out. Paul Pierce said they didn't have an F factor, and I guess they didn't. Next series, Warriors and Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies were just a little bit too slow. I think the Grizzlies need to draft a little bit younger. In this upcoming draft, it's a little bit younger. I think the Warriors are just a little bit too fast, man. And sometimes a team might have too many weapons, man. Too many weapons. Like Zach Randolph couldn't guard off the pick and roll. That was a problem for him. Vince Carter, he couldn't guard nobody. When they threw the subs in, they would just lunch me. The subs would lunch me, man. Kufis and Udrich. I mean, they would. Klay Thomas and Chef Curry, they were just cooking those guys. And I'm looking at the game, and then if they wasn't cooking them, Harrison Barnes was cooking them. I'm looking at the game like, I'm like, man, this is ridiculous how they just getting cooked. They got to get a little younger. I thought the addition of Jeff Green would be huge dividends for them, and it did advance to the second round, so you got to give them that. And it just wasn't enough, man. So shout out to the Grizzlies, man. I really like Marcus Gasol. Last but not least, we have what's the other team? I can't think of the other team that went. Last but not least, we have LeBron James and the Cavs. I forget LeBron James and the Cavs and the Bulls, man. Whew, I thought this series would go 7. I think the Bulls gave up in Game 6 towards the end of Game 6. They said Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose had some beef. I don't know if they had beef or not. If they did, that's unfortunate. But whether they did or not, I don't like they gave up as a team. I never seen a Bulls team gave up. You know what I think though, secretly on the inside, and this could just my opinion. I think Tom Thibodeau might have been running them too hard. I hear that he runs his players very hard in practice. The guys, they look kind of worn out. They look kind of tired. They looked a little bit tired. So I think Tom Thibodeau might have ran them out the gym just a little bit too much, maybe. I know that none of the players will say that. You never talk bad about your coach unless it's like something ridiculous going on. But Yeah, that's my philosophy on it. And LeBron James, he's tough. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you why the Cavs are tough. They're tough because of LeBron James, and I don't want to just center it on a superstar. They got different entities to their team, different pieces that make them also special. But LeBron James' IQ is so high, and if he can, he's gonna have to do a lot to win this. But if he can consistently beat his man, take his man one-on-one, and force a double team, and be able to kick out to his shooters, and his shooters is on. And he's talking about Mike Miller, James Jones, and the other guy that had 19, I can't think of his name, Dellavedova or something like that. It's just gonna be a problem, man. It's just gonna, and then you got Kyrie Irving into the fold. You know, he's a little hurt, man. If him and Kevin Love was 100%, whew, I would definitely have them winning against the Hawks. But speaking of winning against the Hawks, let's get into my conference finals prediction. Hawks versus Cleveland Cavaliers. I like Cleveland. I like Cleveland in 6. I would say 7. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not gonna say 7. The Hawks start playing that one-on-one ball against the Wizards. Even though they beat the Wizards, they start playing a little bit too much one-on-one. That's not what you do, Atlanta. You play as a team, you have a good shot at beating the Cavs. You cannot beat them alone. You got to beat them together. They're just too good offensively one-on-one. They're just better than you guys one-on-one. You guys don't have those type of one-on-one players. I think your best one-on-one player off the top of the head is probably Jeff Teague. And he's distributing the ball and basically just shooting open jump shots. He's playing his part. He can't do point guard duties and be the main scorer. He's not that type of scorer, and he shouldn't have to be when you got Kyle Korver, Mac, Al Horford, and Paul Millsap. You guys are too good to be playing one-on-one and not playing together. So they play together, give each other guys a good shot, Atlanta. So I like Cleveland in 6, and I like the Warriors in 7. I really think the Rockets series is going to go 7. People are disrespecting the Rockets wholeheartedly, saying they're going to get swept out of the building. I watched the game last night, and they don't look like a sweep to me. You know, I could be wrong. I think people just forgot how the relentlessness the Rockets have showed in the last series in the semifinal. I think people have just kind of forgotten about that. I haven't. And yeah, so I like the Warriors in 7, Cleveland in 6. I'm not gonna lie, I really would have liked to see Chris Paul get a ring. I want to see Stephen Curry get a ring too. I want to see Harden too. That Clippers and Houston series was a hard series for me to watch. And you know, none of my favorite teams was in it. A couple of my favorite players in there, and James Harden and Chris Paul. I really want to see CP3 get one, but not this year, buddy. Maybe next year. And oh yeah, just in case you was wondering, you're looking out in the background. What you are seeing in the background, it's actually Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett, an old picture of that combination, man. I used to love watching that combination when I was a kid, man. Awesome combo, a lot of oops, a lot of heart, man, a lot of grit. It was a sad day when they broke that team up. But you know, it's a business, and they had to do. They gotta do what they gotta do, man. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the vid. This is your boy Launchpad 1412, and I'm out.